Guys. So today's mindfulness tip of the day is going to be about holding space. You may have seen a few posts here and there that I've put out about holding space. Our horses are really, really excellent at it. And there have been some really incredible moments on our farm where the horses have held space at such a perfect moment for some of our clients. But I want to talk about how we can do it for ourselves and for others. So, first off, let's kind of talk about what holding space means. And it's really actually a very simple process, but it can be pretty difficult. What holding space is simply allowing the other person or animal to have their moment and to experience that moment without intervening, without judging, simply by being there as a physical and emotional support. I'm sure we've all been in those moments where we're kind of having a breakdown and you have that friend who's just kind of sitting there going, I have no idea what to say or do right now. And that's okay, because we always feel like we have to fill that void, that silence, with something, and we don't realize the impact that simply our presence can have in a moment like that. And that's really what holding space is. So when it comes to mindfulness and how that is cohesive to holding space, really what that is, the best way to relate the two is that when you're holding space, you're allowing a moment to happen and you're respecting it as it's happening, and you're just living in it. You're not, spending time thinking about the future. You're not worrying about the past. You're simply existing in that present moment. So as far as holding space, being a mindfulness practice for yourself, it's actually really great for you to do, to offer to other people, if that makes sense. So, this is kind of tying into, giving back to others helps us feel good about ourselves. And one really simple, easy way that doesn't cost you any money or resources, it's just the existence of yourself, is holding space for others. So let me just kind of tell you a little bit of a story where this happened in my own life just a couple of days ago. So on Monday morning, my youngest daughter has a very tough time. She gets a serious case of the Mondays, so to speak. And so Monday mornings are kind of difficult for her. She has a hard time getting up and sort of getting back into the swing of things, to get ready to go to school and all of those kinds of things. So this particular Monday was maybe worse than some others. And she was having a complete meltdown. At the moment, I can't even recall what it was specifically about. Maybe it had something to do with her hairstyle or so. I really don't know. She didn't want to brush her teeth. Regardless, I remember her standing in the bathroom and just like having a complete meltdown. And, for me, the clock is ticking and we've got to get out the door. We've got to get A, B, and C done and get out of here because we have places to go and places to be, and, we have to get moving. So, initially my instinct is to just yell at her, get it together, and let's move this along. But I have learned from experience that doesn't tend to move things along more quickly. So as my child's behavior is escalating and I find my own anxiety rising, when I project that back onto her, now this has just created more anxiety in her, and now we're just ping-ponging off each other with higher and higher levels of anxiety. So I took a breath, incorporated some of my breathing exercises to get myself calmed down, and then I simply sat on the floor. I sat on the floor in the bathroom and I allowed her to experience her emotion. And after a minute or so, she crawled into my lap and we sat together. And for her, I was simply holding the space. Nobody said anything. There was no trying to talk around it. There was no yelling. I simply held the space for her. And for me to be able to do that for her, I had to get in a position of mindfulness. I had to say to myself, okay, I am in this moment. I am going to center myself and I'm going to make a conscious decision about how I'm going to respond to the situation. So it really took a lot of effort to pull myself in and to bring myself to that mindfulness state. And I was able to live in that moment and to enjoy it. And at the same time, I was doing something positive for my daughter. So ultimately, after a little bit of a cry and some snuggling on the bathroom floor, we were able to get it together. And amazingly, we weren't even late for school and work and all of those things. So, and we both felt centered for the day, and we were ready to tackle the day at that point instead of letting our anxiety just rise and then perpetuate and follow us through the day. I think we've all been in those moments where we're like, something horrible has happened in the morning and we carry it with us through the whole day and let it define our day and essentially ruin our day, creating these levels of anxiety and anger inside of ourselves. So I really encourage you to, take this holding space mindfulness technique and really apply it to others, because you will see that it will translate your peace and calm and ability to hold that space for others is going to really translate. And it actually happens pretty rapidly. While you're in the moment, it can be a little bit awkward and seem like time is moving slowly because you've kind of stopped. No one's talking, no one's doing anything. But really, it's the most beneficial thing that you can do in a moment of stress and anxiety for others and for yourself. So I encourage you, as you're going about, maybe you've got a boss who flies off the handle or your kids are upset about something. Instead of reacting, gather yourself, become mindful, and hold the space for them. And this is really, really a very powerful technique when it comes to mental health. And I know so many of us are dealing with anxiety and depression and grief and trauma, PTSD. We're struggling with addiction for, a number of other mental health reasons. And so this holding space technique can be really, really beneficial for that, because sometimes, when we're in that moment, we are so hard on ourselves. Why am I failing at this? Why can't I do that? When we have loved ones who are dealing with those mental health struggles, what's the right thing to say? How can I help them? What can I do? How can I save them? And really, I think the best thing is just having that, giving them that awareness and letting them know, hey, I'm here, and maybe I can't fix this whole thing, but I am here for you, and allowing them to feel that on a physical and emotional and spiritual level through your presence. So, this is a really, really great, powerful tool that you can use. And I encourage you to kind of watch other people's interactions and see if you notice, because sometimes people may subconsciously be holding space for others. And as I've said, our horses are really, really excellent at it. They know exactly the moments when they need to just be present and allow someone to have the moment that they need to have. So, watch that with your own animals, watch it, in other people, and then try and do it yourself, because it's going to bring a peace to yourself, on the inside, and it's also going to bring a peace to others. So it's a really great tool that you can share, and everyone wins. So get out there, give it a shot. If you want to see how the horses hold space, in their own environment, certainly we invite you to come out to the farm, have a session with us, and experience that for yourselves as well, because it's really a beautiful experience. All right, guys, so I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful.